I intended to have live commentary for this match, but unfortunately I managed to lose my recording, so I will be doing post-commentary instead. I'll try to reiterate my thought process as well as I can. I was happy at first to not see Espeon and Typhlosion, because they were some of my main concerns. Either way, I decided in the end to lead with Delphox, because I figured I could get screens up, and if Maushold is the lead, I could just switch to Shaman. Okay, so Maushold was the lead. In this case, I figured I should just follow my game plan and switch to Shaman, hoping that Maushold could take Rocky Helmet damage. Okay, Shaman comes in. And Maushold uses Population Bomb, and this is where my heart sank a bit, because it was in fact protective pads. So my Rocky Helmet play did not work at all. The Maushold is just completely going off RNG on Population Bomb and still got 7 hits, which is very unfortunate for me because Shaman cannot take another one of those. And it forces me to switch into Mimikyu. It's the only way I can really take the Population Bomb, and it will inevitably break my disguise, because it will have to stay in against Maushold, which will probably use knockoff U-turn or one of the similar moves. Yeah, as expected, we come in to be immune to Population Bomb. It might have been a bit greedy to do this early, but I decided to just go for the Sword Stance, just right off the bat to get some pressure going. I figure he would probably switch into Qwilfish, which is the best counter defensively to Mimikyu, so I was going off of that assumption. And in comes the Qwilfish as I had anticipated. I get intimidated, but I nullify it with the Sword Stand. And then I decide to click Taunt, which I had planned for this specific scenario, because I figure Qwilfish is either going to use Toxic Spikes, Toxic, or some other status move, and with Taunt I can basically just cripple it right off the bat. Yeah, I blocked the Thunder Wave, very nice, and then I can be greedy again and Sword Stance yet again. Because I can't really hit Qwilfish when I'm only at +1 anyway. We get the second Sword Stance off, and Qwilfish quick turns down. In now comes the Rotom Fan. With this switch in, I figured it might be Scarfed, but I figured also that maybe at this HP I can actually take a hit. So I did end up clicking Play Rough, but in hindsight I should probably have clicked Shadow Sneak. Because yeah, since I didn't click Shadow Sneak, it gets the Volt Switch, where I can no longer damage it, and I luckily survive at 1 HP, but at the end of the day it didn't really matter, because here comes Qwilfish to just finish the job with Rocky Helmet. Off to a pretty rough start so far this match. At this point, I was considering what I could send in. I could either try going for some cheeky setup with Glaceon, or I could just get my Sticky Web up immediately, because this is a very safe opportunity to get Sticky Webs up. I was really debating sending in Glaceon, but in the end, I decided on Vikavolt for Sticky Webs. I just click Sticky Web, no hesitation. Espeon isn't here, so it can't get Magic Bounced. He switches on the Sticky Web, probably anticipating that I could just kill him with a move. And Spiritomb comes in. I get my webs up, and now I have a decent matchup against Spiritomb. It can't do that much to Vikavolt. So I figure I should just get some proper damage on it by clicking Bug Buzz. I was contemplating for a bit what the Spiritomb could potentially do, or I shouldn't just click Bug Buzz here, but at the end of the day, I should just click Bug Buzz. It does a decent chunk of damage, and then I get hit by Toxic, and that's honestly fine. Toxic isn't horrible for Vikavolt to deal with. But here is where I make a kind of dumb play. I was doing some mental maths on how much damage Bug Buzz did, but at the time I forgot that there was a 20 base power difference between Volt Switch and Bug Buzz, not 10. So I thought here, oh, Volt Switch should kill, and will also catch a switching. But Volt Switch won't kill. I should really have clicked Bug Buzz, and this was a really bad misplay on my part. There goes the Volt Switch, and it just barely lives. Maybe it was actually a roll even, but I really should have still clicked Bug Buzz. And now I have to decide what's going to take a hit from Spiritomb right now. Not a choice I wanted to make, but now I forced myself into this position. I decided to go with Shaman, hoping that I could get, because I figured Shaman could take 2 hits. It uses Hex, so thankfully I'm not statused. I don't think I necessarily misplayed here. It was just unfortunate. I decided to click Earth Power because Seed Flare could miss. I figured that there's no way Rotom Fan with Levitate switches in here, because then it might take a Seed Flare and just lose a lot of health. So I thought Earth Power was a safe play. A very safe play. But despite that, Rotom Fan is the switch in here, and it just comes in for free. And it just keeps going downhill. If I clicked Seed Flare there and it hit, that Rotom Fan would be severely weakened. It would probably live it, but it wouldn't like it. Now I'm considering if I should sack Shaman, or if I should try to keep it around so I can maybe Healing Wish later. Really considering hitting that Seed Flare, and I do actually. We take the Volt Switch, just barely, and something has to come in to take this Seed Flare. And the one coming in is Spiritomb, so it's basically just sacked to deal with whatever move I clicked. At least we hit the Seed Flare and we get rid of Spiritomb. He sends in Maushold, which I don't really want to deal with. And I can't really switch here, because then it might just set up for free. So I kind of have to leave Shaman in and just try to deal as much damage to it as possible. I am really debating my options here, because I could technically switch to I could technically switch to Tauros to intimidate it. I accidentally clicked run for a second. I didn't panic at all, definitely. I would never panic by almost forfeiting. Maushold clicks tidy up, which now makes it very scary. It did lose some speed to Sticky Web, so it's not at +1 speed, only +1 attack. At least Seed Flare did a noticeable amount of damage, but now I have a problem on my hands. Shaman gets finished off. My issue here is that Tauros doesn't live Population Bomb if Maushold gets 10 hits. That's a big if, but it could still happen. I think it also gets KO'd by 9 hits. So I was strongly considering what my safe play here is, because Glaceon also lives, as long as it's not a lot of hits. But I still need to intimidate it. I don't have any choice but to intimidate it, because at +1 attack, nothing lives Population Bomb. So I send in Tauros to intimidate the Maushold to lower its attack to a reasonable level. And then, in order to actually guarantee that I can handle the Maushold, I realize I have to send in Tauros again. So I decide to sack Delphox to a Population Bomb just so I can switch in Tauros another time for another Intimidate. Delphox comes in, and there comes the Population Bomb. 1 hit, 2 hit, 3 hit with the crit, 4 hit, 5 hit, 6 hit, 7 hit. He is really lucky with these Population Bombs, by the way. He gets so many hits despite not having wide lens. We send Tauros back in to intimidate, which should force the Maushold out. And I just clicked offensive. I don't want to risk anything. Which maybe I should have, because of course Quillfish comes in, but Clear Amulet helps, if anything. I take more Rocky Helmet damage. And I decide that at this point, I just have to kind of try to get something going. So I decide to click Bulk Up. But again, I probably shouldn't have done this, given that Rotom Fan can just revenge kill this thing for free because it's scarfed. So I really should have just clicked Zen Headbutt or a different attacking move. Rotom Fan comes in, so I had to find something to switch into. And I decide to go into Vikavolt. It has the highest likelihood of taking whatever is coming his way. Air Slash is actually pretty good for me. I can take that pretty well. I'm debating what I should click here, but I believe I just end up clicking Bug Buzz to deal as much damage as possible if Rotom Fan stays in. It does click Air Slash again. I did not get flinched, and I get a big chunk of damage into Rotom Fan. Unfortunately, I do die to the Toxic. And now, the game is pretty much over for me. It's all about just trying to get another kill if I can for differential. There's no way of really recovering at this point. I can at least terrestrialize Glaceon. I just click Calm Mind, to try to get some damage on the next thing that comes in. It switches out into Lycanroc, and I terrestrialize into a Coal Mine. Now I have to deal with Lycanroc, which will probably deal a lot of damage to me. So I decide that the best course of action is to click Chilling Water, so I can at least try to take less damage from the second hit I'm going to take here. With this Stone Edge damage, I learned that this thing is Choice Band. And because of Choice Band, Chilling Water does not let me take 2 of these hits, which is very unfortunate. And nothing really wants to deal with this. I couldn't sacrifice any of Tauros' HP, I felt like. So the only option I had was really to just let Glaceon go down to the next Stone Edge. It's not like the Stone Edge can miss either, because Lycanroc has no guard. Here comes the Stone Edge, and Glaceon goes out. Last one standing is Tauros. Hopefully it can at least get one more kill so I don't get 5-0'd. A 4-0 isn't great, but it's better. I just click Raging Ball, as that would KO this and at least deal okay damage to other things switching in. He does actually switch, probably to try to maintain differential. There comes the classic Quillfish. I deal an okay chunk of damage. And then we just click Send Headbutt in the hopes of getting one more kill before the game is over. Quillfish does stay in, so we did secure the 4-0 if anything, but now it's inevitable that Rotom just comes in to finish the job, and there is nothing I can do about it. It doesn't really matter what I click here, because it's over anyway. There comes the discharge, and that's GG.